Mr. Biltmore, welcome to Concordia. I'm your ear. Thank you for coming. Call me Alex. I assume you've been briefed. Only what you've allowed, and a little more, thanks to your assistant. No signs, no receptionist. Even the elevator asks for a pen. Very discreet. Discretion is part of the architecture. Our clients tend to dislike being noticed. Ironically, that's how I'm most often noticed. A paradox reserved for the very wealthy, or the very haunted. Sometimes both. You work with Morgan, Pictet, Tokyo MUFG, and yet you're here. What changed? Everything and nothing. The world spins faster. The compass stays still. I'm tired of salesmen and the frightened compliance officers. I came for something else. And you think I offer it? We'll see. Then let's not waste trust. Tell me, what keeps you up at night? And please, not interest rates. Not that. Lately, how to leave something behind that doesn't turn into poison. You're not the first to want that, but the first to call it a curse. My father left me a portfolio and a book of handwritten lectures on risk. I grew the portfolio, I burned the lectures. And you'd like to leave something else. Something harder to corrupt. Influence without control. Value without prescriptions. And yes, some wealth, but not the kind that divides. So, not protection. Design. Exactly. Then let's begin not with numbers, but with names. Who matters? Olivia, my wife, she's more cautious than I am. Dale, my son, Berlin, AI Diagnostics, doesn't answer calls. And Eliza, Harvard MBA, thinks I bet my fortune on timing, not efforts. Is she wrong? Not entirely. Hard work is the lie we tell ourselves to justify the outcome. Noted. When you picture the future without you, what do you fear the most? Mismanagement? Conflict? Emptiness? All of it, but mostly irrelevance. Then I move numbers, not meaning. Then let's build something that carries your voice, not just your value. How? With structure, custom trusts, philosophical clauses, modular foundations for storing influence, not just wealth. Legacy triggers, like a letter for your granddaughter on her 18th birthday. Lawful, yes, but human. You sound like a lawyer raised by poets. That child would make a decent private banker. Fine, show me the sketches, and don't pitch me a fund unless it can outlast my regrets. Then let's begin with something simple. What if your legacy isn't a thought, but a conversation that never ends? Now we're talking. You've laid out 7 initial structures. 4 are familiar, 3 are unorthodox. The familiar describe what your wealth is, the others, what it might mean. Contingent philanthropic layering, legacy recursion, decentralized narrative clauses. These real or branding poetry? Both. The names are new, the ideas are old. A Roman once tied a grant to his great-grandson graduating rhetoric school. Wise or insane? Possibly both. But the boy became a senator. You're trying to engineer senators now? No. Just meaningful decisions. My kids hate frameworks. Dale avoids boards. Eliza calls it financial colonialism. That's because control without transparency feels like manipulation. But if we name the mechanism, it becomes a framework, something they can engage with or work away from. A game? A structured invitation, opt-in legacy triggered by relevance, not reinforcement. Alright, scenario, Codex 2, bifurcated foundation model, core capital locked, only purpose-linked grants are accessible. Each descendant may propose an initiative once every 5 years, and they must collaborate to unlock. Even if they're not speaking, especially then, no alignments, no access. That's not a trust, that's a pressure chamber. Call it reconciliation by design, legally valid, emotionally deliberate. What if one sabotages the other? Then the capital stays dormant. Silence itself becomes a statement. That's cruel. It's honest. Dale once said money is attention crystallized. He was being cynical, but it stuck. Then let's direct that attention towards each other. Could it scale? Easily. Example, weighted influence coefficients. Olivia, double voice on cultural endowment. Eliza, veto override via independent impact review. So, intention-based governance, not just controlled by rules. Exactly. Most plans ensure death. You're building continuity. And taxes? Structural layering model, Liechtenstein Foundation, anchored with US tax transparent overlay, grant-making rights separated from voting rights, 3 trusts, Swiss legacy anchor, Telebau, operational access, offshore, emerging asset pools, Scandinavian renewable stake, moved in kind, reducing capital gains exposure. You rehearsed this. I prepared. You assume they'll care. What if they don't? Then the structure becomes a mirror. Even apathy carries meaning. They won't read it. They'll sign, skim, forget. That's why they embed meaning beyond the documents, symbolic contracts, living clauses, and if you're open, legacy briefings. Briefings? Milestone-based messages, digital voice logged, timed. Dale hears one after his first exit, Eliza after first board vote. Each includes a story, a decision tree. You're asking me to haunt them? Only if they need it. Dale once said, I'm obsessed with elegant control. Elegance is control that doesn't apologize. Your legacy should reflect your precision. Real fights won't be about trust. They'll be emotional. Then let's measure that. A short diagnostic, emotional governance. Sounds Orwellian. It's 4 questions. Emotional governance diagnostic. It's on a scale of 1 to 5. Value alignment. Alexander, 2, maybe 1. Dale wants AI. Eliza wants empathy. Direct communication, rare. Holidays, obligatory Zooms. Collaboration under pressure? Yes, if it's survival. No, if it's money. Effective capital, if given outright? 0, maybe 5%. If structured, your matrix reads high misalignment risk, low sibling trust, high resilience in crisis, strong ethical divergence, low capital absorption. You talk like they're startups. They are, except you don't get to exit. Then what's the play? Not a solution, a balance. Proposed asymmetric votes. Deal unlocks 10% if clinical deployment metrics are met. Eliza unlocks after 3 independent board terms. No penalty for failure, just deferred access. Olivia, vote is active and conditional, but invisible to heirs unless she discloses. She becomes a pivot, not just a matriarch. You already drafted this. Modeled it. We test behavior before structure. Risks? 3. Resentment. Structure feels like judgment. Disengagement. Total disinterest. Inversion. System is gamed without internalizing the values. How do we manage that? Transparency, dialogue, asymmetry. You write them personal letters, no legalese. You say what matters, then you disappear from the process. You think that works? If designed precisely, yes, it becomes an echo, a different sound in every generation. You wrote this when you left Meridian. Money doesn't free you, it just buys a better cage. Freedom is what you leave behind. I was younger and better. Alright, now you're designing the key. Alright, show me the next layer. And let's make sure it still matters when I'm gone. You said legacy isn't a vote, it's a conversation. But conversations die. Not if they echo, not if you embed story into structure. Structure doesn't speak, then we give it a voice. Letter to an unknown heir, to be read at age 18, regardless of bloodline. You're writing to someone who might not exist. I might, or could be. This is fiction. It's narrative infrastructure. If you include this clause, it creates a moment. Your granddaughter, if she exists, receives a message. You come from someone who believed meaning outlasts markets. Your inheritance is not capital, it's choice. She chooses a small grant or a poem. One of yours. You use my journals. You said, find something they wouldn't expect. I used to think legacy means relevance. Now I think forgetting me might be the gift. Then write that in. We call it a fate clause, identity concealed for 1 generation. Like a time capsule, or a ghost with manners. You're dangerous. Only to the part of you that confuses love with control. Included letter, grant, but only 1 poem, the unfinished one. Understood. If she finishes it, she gets the map to something real. A vineyard, a cabin. Conditional legibility. The more they seek, the more they find, by choice. Exactly. A legacy you earn, not inherit. Now we have a structure with teeth, not cages. Triggers without tyranny. A story that outlives silence. What's next? Legal counsel, cross-border review. Then codification of law and language. Didn't think I care this much. Legacy only gets interesting once it's not about you. Then we're getting somewhere. Keep going. Just don't turn this into a museum. I won't. We're building a library. Good. Libraries record conversations. You switch seats. Today is personal. Symmetry seemed fair. Or tactical. Only if necessary. What's that? The Baltimore pattern ledger. 3 generations. Financial decisions, estate filings, private letters. We didn't keep diaries, we kept records. Records are stories in numbers. And what does mine say? What narrative or audit first? Narrative. I can already hear the audit judging me. Ellis Whitmore, your grandfather, died in 73, 4 properties, 1 patent, a pension he turned into mineral rights. He named a childhood friend as moral executor. It fractured the family. I remember. A winter kitchen, a lot of shouting. Your father, Martin, never trusted an outsider again. 13 trust amendments in 17 years. He didn't even trust his lawyer. And your draft? 12 triggers, 3 fallbacks, 2 keys, unassigned. So I inherited the paranoia. Not just the reflex. Design is what comes next. May I show you a pattern? Go ahead. Pattern. Asset consolidation during life crisis event. 1971, Alice converts pension after second heart attack. 1994, Martin sells vineyard after your mother's diagnosis. 2008, you liquidate 23% of Meridian's international exposure during your divorce. 2017, Tokyo family office closed after Olivia's foundation launched. Those weren't coincidences. No, you simplify during personal chaos. You pull inward. And now I'm trying to let go. You're interrupting the pattern. That's not the same as changing it. We've avoided one question. What are you afraid they'll remember you for? Absences, control, corrections. Corrections? When Dale got suspended, I didn't call. I tied his tuition to performance. When Eliza skipped an internship, I cut the travel budget. That's not correction, that's calculus. I thought I was being efficient. You were, but efficiency isn't empathy. A letter not to apologize, just to name the gap, what you did versus what you meant. And what happens to it? Sealed, only released if certain emotional markers are met. We call it a shadow clause. You're codifying guilt. We're giving form to what assets can't fix. Don't let them read it, unless they need to, and only if they're still asking questions. Understood. And what if none of this works? Then at least your silence has shape, and shape is care. Now, that intent is clear. We align the structure. We start with the map. Let's see it. Primary asset categories, real assets, Global Tuscan Vineyard, Luxembourg entity, nominee director, Tokyo Apartments, 3 units, Cayman REIT wrapper, Swiss Chalet, Panama Bearer, Share Corp, Manhattan Penthouse, Delaware Revocable Trust, Whitmore Urban Revocable, 2016, Private Equity and Venture, 12 angel investments, Delaware SPV Pool, Mixed Sector, LP in 3 microfunds, Green Logistics, AI Medicine, Modular Construction, Direct Board Seat plus Founder Vesting Clause in Dale's Berlin-based diagnostics firm, Trust and Foundation, Zurich Administrative Legacy Trust, Artemis Cultural Grantor Trust, US, Whitmore Family Settlement, BV1, Discretionary with Silent Protector Clause, no centralized governance protocol, liquid and strategic capital, $94 million in leaded muni plus sovereign bonds, $22 million in dormant hedge positions, gold in vaults, Singapore, Zurich, NYC, crypto, BTC, ETH, 4L tokens, multi-sig cold storage. You've met my skeletons and cataloged them. Now, redesign priorities. Number 1, real assets tie into symbolic anchors. Florence Estate, Legacy Retreat, used by intention proposal required. Tokyo Apartments, Urban Scholarship Residency, 1 year rent-free for scholars and artists plus publication. Swiss Chalet, Silence Trust, accessible only after 10-day retreat. No speech equals access. You're gamifying property. I'm activating legacy. Now let's have a look at the private equity. Mirror pools. Angel pool splits in 2, 1 per child. Deal unlocks equity if he mentors 2 founders outside Europe. Eliza unlocks via non-profit board back plus audited mentorship. No penalty for non-participation, but access delay apply. And the Berlin company? Conflict clause. If family ownership exceeds 10%, Deal's voting rights convert to advisory unless Eliza approves. Preemptive sibling policy. Not prediction, preparation. Number 3. trust to narrative flow, collapse B5 trust into choice-driven vote. Recharter Artemis Trust for Legacy Codex funding, non-financial storytelling. ZALT, rebranded, charted in narrative form, written by you, published privately, public in 25 years, unless early inquiry triggers release. 4. Liquid capital into opportunity reservoirs. $30 million moved to open option vault. Heirs submit annual projects. Winners receive capital plus mentorship. Non-winners receive a rejection video from you, recorded directly. You want me to reject my heirs on video? Elegantly, truthfully, some legacies are built on no. If I agree to all of this, what's left of me? All of it, but focused, filtered through intent, not accumulation. My father left rules and money, no voice. You're leaving both. No museums, no monuments. Build something that breathes. Then we begin conversion. You think this structure of thresholds can last? If we build it to challenge the future, not flatter the present, yes. I once tried to write Eliza a letter after she quit her first job. I rewrote it 12 times. Each version felt smaller. I deleted it, sent money instead. She understood. She took it, never mentioned it. You can rewrite that silence in form, not apology. That's the paradox. Wealth lets us skip intimacy. This time, you're not skipping. You're encoding. This hosts the protocol scaffold, templates, logic trees, the legacy codex space. You want me to plug it in and write the future? No, just record one voice file, 10 minutes, no edits, say what's unsaid. And if I fail, you won't. But even failure becomes code. Legacy is just intentional memory. Zurich. After Deal's launch, he didn't tell me. I wrote this, never sent it. Use it or bury it, but don't let it die. Here's the first brick. Everything else builds around it. 10 days from now, we reconvene. The holdings will be mirrored into a living legacy matrix, stress-tested, reforged. What do you need from me? Nothing but truth. One last time. Voice to file. Understood? Yeah. Yes, you're not what I expected. Most bankers want to impress. You keep pushing me off balance, only long enough to make it deliberate. It's working. Phase shift initiated.